If you can't find a door into your industry, you need to build a fucking door. That's what I started doing because I realized no one was gonna fucking hire me. Nobody was gonna come save me. Nobody was going to actually give me a chance. If you've never done this before, why should they give you a chance? There's freelancers in the Philippines that will do it for $15 an hour. Why should they pay you 30? That's the sad reality of it. You invested all this time and energy into your degree and they don't care. A bachelor's is the new high school diploma. Everyone's got one. It's so hard to stand out. If you haven't done this, you haven't put in the reps, if you don't have any measurable results in your resume or your portfolio, it does not matter. If you can't find a job, maybe it's because you're not supposed to have one. When I said this on Threads, everyone got pissed off, but it's true. This is something I had to face about myself when I was working my old job 2 years ago at a high school. I was clocking in on that 9 to 5 grind. It was one of those jobs where you would basically just sit around doing nothing and get paid, which was nice. You know, I was a long-term sub or an online class. Whenever I applied to other jobs, I would never get chosen. I would never get even called for an interview. The few times I got called for an interview, they didn't want to move forward. I've probably applied to hundreds, if not thousands of jobs since I moved back home with my parents during the pandemic. Been trying to get my life together ever since, and it just never felt like it was working out. I think I came to the conclusion that I wasn't supposed to work a 9 to 5 job because every time I would try to get on, even just like getting on Indeed or Idealist or LinkedIn to look for jobs, I just started to feel this like insane, just mental block. I started to get really down or just like really annoyed, going through the motions, trying to pitch myself to people, trying to convince people that why they should talk to me or they should connect with me. I got really discouraged with that because it's not a fair conversation. They're really looking for someone so specific and they're not willing to have a conversation with you about your potential or the value that you provide. And honestly, going through that, applying to so many jobs and never hearing anything back from people or just being ghosted by recruiters is so discouraging, especially if you're like an emerging professional who recently graduated or, you know, you're in your 20s and trying to enter your field after investing thousands of dollars into your education. Yeah, it's just like very frustrating and it really is like a humiliation ritual. I've heard someone say this the other day that like applying for a job in 2026 is truly a humiliation ritual because they are asking you to like be something that you're not. It's really hard for any of us to just kind of like put on this happy face when there's so much going on in the world and obviously we need money.
I like money.
I'm not gonna love working here. I'm not a great cultural fit for the job necessarily, but I need money to live. Why is that not a valid reason? And the problem today is a lot of businesses are just struggling with their own finances and they're looking for someone that they can exploit. They're looking for someone who can wear multiple hats and is not gonna know their worth and is gonna like be treated like a slave, truly. And I'm not trying to shit on 9 to 5 jobs. Okay, having a steady paycheck is great. Having the consistency of work is great. Gig work is not for the weak. Gig work is very hard. I've been doing it for years. But there are some things you have to give up in order to work a 9 to 5 job that I don't think you're supposed to give up. I think that the universe, I think that God wants you to utilize your skills, your passions, your purpose, your interests, your aptitudes, your talents, your abilities, your skill sets, and you're not going to be able to do that at your 9 to 5 job. Working a 9 to 5 job did help me kind of like figure out what I want to do. Obviously did point me in the right direction and gave me like a lot of opportunities to expand myself and my knowledge, but everything's a learning experience. So I'm not saying a 9 to 5 job can't be a learning experience, but what I'm saying is you're not supposed to work a 9 to 5 job. If every time you get on Indeed, you feel this like internal twisting in your guts because in order to apply to these jobs, you have to do all these manipulations and try to get people to like you. You have to deal with these people who are just bots. They're just bots and they're not going anywhere in life, but you have to take orders from them. And it's like, I don't know about you, but that's just not, that shit wasn't for me. And the reason why you're suffering is because you still feel like getting a job is the thing that's going to make you feel like, yes, I'm an adult, I've made it. And you need to stop thinking like that. You need to start thinking, okay, what are my revenue goals and how do I actually get there? Because I truly believe that the jobs are going away. People are saying that, oh, AI is a hoax. Are the jobs really going to go away? If you do not learn the art of making money, you are going to be fucked because it's not enough to know how to work a job or to have a skill set that is needed by a specific industry. Because what if that skill set is taken over by some AI company? Software and different technological advancements have always changed industries, have always changed the way we work. It's going to keep happening. It's not going to stop. The art of making money for me was more important than the art of crafting your resume and getting hired. It's not important enough for me. If that's the path you want to take, no shade to you, but I felt it was more important for me to learn how to make money. When you learn how to make money, you can always make money. When you learn how to start a business, you always know how to start a business. When you continue to rely on a job for money, you are significantly held back in life because what if you lose your job? So many government employees, I think it was earlier last year actually, in 2025, lost their jobs and were basically just thrown to the wolves with no help on how to move forward. And it freaks me out because it's going to keep happening in different ways. I don't ever want to be put in that situation where I don't know how to make money, whether I am doing deliveries or pet sitting, dog walking, whether I'm doing freelance work online. I have all the things that I would need to be successful in the case that I can't find a job. I know how to pitch myself and I have measurable results in my portfolio that I can now bring to someone and say, okay, no, I actually drove this X amount of revenue dollars for this business owner, or I actually helped X person with this specific campaign that led to this amount of signups or this amount of turnout at this community event that we organized. That's the kind of stuff that I do. It's really important to learn those things because if you don't learn how to do that stuff, if you don't have the ability to say that, not only is it harder for you to get a job, but it's harder for you to survive. These days, that is what people want you to say, whether you're doing job interviews or whether you're pitching people on sales calls. They want to know what it is you can actually do for them, what is this problem you can solve for them, why they should pay you $1,500, $3,000, $5,000 for a coaching package or for marketing services, whatever it is. It's that simple. And I basically told myself that even if I start my own agency, if I fail at this entrepreneur stuff, at that point, I will have a fat fucking portfolio and resume of experiences that will make it very hard for someone to turn me away from a job interview. That's what I told myself. I was like, I need to build my portfolio and I need to get into marketing because my first initial goal was to become a full stack digital marketer and to make $250,000 a year in a full-time role for an agency or a company. And then I said, okay, what if I do entrepreneurship and scale my own agency to $250K a year? Either way, you have two paths now. Whereas before you were trying to beg somebody to pick you to pay you $40K a year or beg someone to pick you to pay $15 an hour or $20 an hour. Either way, you have nothing to lose. If you're one of those people that feels like you cannot get a job no matter how hard you try, why don't you try entrepreneurship for a while? I guarantee you, if you try online entrepreneurship, you're going to have some measurable results that you can add to your portfolio, which will then make you stand out a lot more in the resume stacks and the job interviews. It is a lot harder to control the outcomes that you create as an employee. You can work yourself up, climb the corporate ladder to a senior level role, and you have employees and freelancers that you manage, and you have more influence over the decisions in the company, then good for you. But I just know that working in teams is really hard. When you work with those teams, you lose control over the outcomes. You can make recommendations, but they don't necessarily have to listen to you. They're not necessarily going to actually take your advice. And so it's hard. Sometimes you work for a company or work with a team for a year and you have nothing to show for it in your resume because nobody actually took your advice. And now you have to just omit that from your resume. You can't even use it at all. That's a waste of fucking time. If you can't find a door into your industry, you need to build a fucking door. That's what I started doing because I realized no one was going to fucking hire me. Nobody's going to come save me. Nobody was going to actually give me a chance. If you've never done this before, why should they give you a chance? There's freelancers in the Philippines that will do it for $15 an hour. Why should they pay you $30? That's the sad reality of it. You invested all this time and energy into your degree and they don't care. A bachelor's is the new high school diploma. Everyone's got one. It's so hard to stand out. If you haven't done this, you haven't put in the reps, if you don't have any measurable results in your resume or your portfolio, it does not matter how good your content looks. Doesn't matter how well you can create. That's the sad thing. There's a lot of skills that people are not learning. And this is why I'm really passionate about mentorship and helping other people get opportunities, which is why I started a coaching program to help people grow on YouTube, because I feel like YouTube was the thing that actually made me stand out and be able to say, look, I grew this platform and now I have this in my resume and I can take this and say, look, if your business could use this amount of attention on a regular, then I can do that for you. Something tangible that you can say, I did this. When you don't have that in your portfolio, it is so hard to not just stand out, but to make an impression and make people actually feel like what you do is worth something. It's actually worth the salary or the retainer fee that they're going to be paying you every month. I know it's hard and I know you feel like shit about not being chosen and about all the time and energy you've spent in applying to jobs and cover letters and all the hoops that they make you jump through and all the interviews they make you go through.
So pick me. Choose me.
Sometimes we make it harder for ourselves by attaching our worth to the results that we're getting. And sometimes we make it harder for ourselves by not accepting that something is just not for us. If you've genuinely given something a good shot for 2-3 years and it's still not working, I think it's safe to move on. And I genuinely feel like more people should get into entrepreneurship because I don't think this problem is going to go away. You know, I've met so many Gen Zs who are just lost. They want to become full-time illustrators or they want to become full-time writers. And it's like, I'm so sorry, sweetheart. I don't know what to tell you, but like, who is paying you a six-figure salary to be an illustrator? I feel like it's the top 1% of creatives that actually get roles like that. The rest of you are contract employees that they hire out on a project basis. They're not putting you on their payroll. That's something I had to accept too, is like, are there really any creative jobs anymore? Or are they mainly temporary roles? It sucks, but you can create stability for yourself through a business. It's not easy to do it. It's not something that happens overnight, but you can internalize the amount of money that you need to make every month and take the action steps that will allow you to attract that income. I've been doing it for 2 years. My income has come solely through my pet care business and my social media marketing agency. I don't regret it at all. I have been able to save money here. I've been able to invest in my business, to do professional development here. That's what I've been doing, and I don't regret it at all. I think all that started when I decided that I was going to stop applying for jobs. Stop applying for full-time jobs that you don't want to work anyway. Why are you doing that? It's a waste of time because you're getting on these interviews and they're not hiring you because you don't want the job. Your energy's fucked up. You're disingenuous. You're uninterested, and they can feel that energy on you, and that's why they're not following up with you. Oh, this would be nice. Oh, that would be cool. Oh, I could do this. Yeah, you could, but like, do you even want to? No. You're gonna get what you want, but like, you have to want it, because the only way you're gonna be successful is if you do what you want to do. If you're spending all this time doing things you don't want to do, it's gonna destroy you as a person. It's gonna destroy your identity, and you're gonna wake up 20 years from now and wonder what happened. That is what freaks me out the most, is looking at my parents and seeing how little progress they've made toward their personal goals because of their 9-to-5 job. There's money everywhere. I think that was the biggest mental shift that helped me to stop wasting my time on these job applications. If you have an audience of people who genuinely support you, who genuinely relate to you, who genuinely like you and trust you online, even better. If you have 1,000 followers on TikTok or 500 followers on Instagram, that's a bunch of people there. You never know who's in your network who would pay you to do something, but you actually have to figure out what it is you want to do, how you can help people, and then put yourself out there. You just never know. You never know what it could lead to, whether it's a side hustle for you or whether it's like a dream of yours that you've been wanting to pursue for years. You need to just do it. The time's going to pass either way. You might as well just do what you want to do. The job market is getting worse. There's no time like the present to learn another way of making money as opposed to going through some third party. Life is so uncertain already. Why not put yourself in the best position so that no matter what happens, you do know how to make money. You do know how to grow an audience of people online that will support your business, that will help you, and you can help them too. Why don't you create a system where you all help each other? That's what a business is. You offer a service for someone, they pay you for it, you're helping each other. It's an ethical way to make money. And I saw us all struggling with these 9-to-5 jobs, hating our lives, ruining our day-to-day experience, working at some job that we hate, putting ourselves through so much mental and emotional anguish on a daily basis. Especially if you're creative, you need to do the stuff that lights you up. I understand if you don't want to sell your art, if you want it to just be your hobby, that's perfectly valid. But for some of us, that's the only thing we genuinely want to do. That's kind of what I would say. Figure out the thing you can do in your sleep and then do that. You should be doing the thing that lights you up. Make a plan. Follow the plan as much as you can. Hey, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope it resonated with you, and I'll see you in the next one.